everyone, and welcome back to the St. Lucie County Public Schools Speakers Bureau. It is great to see you back with us today, and as those of you that have been on have come on this program before or have seen this program before, you know that we are here to motivate, to inspire, and to encourage our entire community, from our students to our parents, from our parents to our business people. Whoever you are in this community, we want to inspire you, and we do that through our story. So today we have a wonderful special guest here, Dr. Tim Moore, and he is the president of IRSC, Indian River Community State College. Back in my days, and I happen to be a graduate,
Yes, ma'am.
it was IRCC.
Yes, ma'am.
And now we're a four-year state
Institution.
college.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
And with many different majors that people can go into. But we want to hear your story today. That's what the Speakers Bureau is
Okay.
all about. So
It's an honor to be with you today.
thank you so
Yes, ma'am.
much
Thank you for the invite.
coming. We appreciate it. We know that you've taken out of your busy schedule, and we know that those of us that are in very high positions, such as president of the college, you have a lot that you could be doing. So we really do appreciate
Yes,
you
ma'am.
coming.
My honor to be here with you today.
Start us out
Okay.
by telling us who you are and how did you come, where do you come from, how long have you been in our community. We
All right.
love talking to community leaders, and if you're a resident of St. Lucie County or a surrounding county here.
I'm a resident of St. Lucie County. I'm right here in Port St. Lucie. Live right across town Parkway there.
Okay.
Been here about 2.5 years since the Board of Trustees selected me as their fourth president for the college. My history is I come from Charlotte, North Carolina. I was raised in a very dysfunctional family. My father was an alcoholic. My mother was an alcoholic. A lot of domestic violence, a lot of things in that family that were not right. And it kind of set my stage for what I would call a restless soul. I have chased my curiosity and my passions throughout my life of what I can achieve and do. So that kind of set the framework. I met my bride when we were 15 years old in high school. We married 6 years later. We've been together now 38 years. I've known her for 44 years of my life. The most stable influence in my life and most loving influence in my life I can imagine. And from her, we've had 3 sons, and they've all achieved their terminal degrees. One's a physician, 2 PhDs.
Oh, wonderful.
And I made them boys. I gave them the Y chromosome. Mama made them men. You know that.
Oh,
She
yeah.
raised them and turned them into the caring individuals they are. But the journey has been one that has been ups and downs in anybody's life. You have opportunities, you have knockout shots that occur, and it's how you stand back up and redirect yourself and dust yourself off.
Yes.
Army veteran, 7 years on active duty.
Okay.
I've done $400 million of research in my career, and in this stage of my life, I feel like I'm in the right place doing the right thing at the right time.
Wonderful. So let's go back a little bit.
Okay.
Your parents, you mentioned, were both alcoholics. And part of the reason why we do the Speakers Bureau is to help others
Sure.
understand
Sure.
that we all have our challenges.
Oh, sure. There's no way.
And
You
that
don't get
was
through
a
life
cha-
without.
and
Oh,
that
absolutely.
was a challenge.
It is, but there are others that have more challenges, either they're physical or mental disabilities or challenges they have. Mine was a home life challenge. My father was a very brilliant man, but he came from a very challenging upbringing. He was raised in a mill village. My grandfather had a 3rd grade education. My grandmother on his side had a 6th grade education. My grandfather worked in the same mill from age 12 to age 62. Very, very strong work ethic. My father was the first to graduate high school, first to go to college, first to get a graduate degree. And those created their own stressors. And then he was unable to adapt to that very well in his own way. And so that manifests itself in alcoholism and womanizing and violence and those kinds of things. What it seeded in me was that I was not going to be that. I wanted to take the best of that experience in my life, which was the innate DNA and genetics that I had for hopefully some type of intellect, and then drive it and do something special. And I wanted someone in that journey with me, my bride, as we talked about earlier, who was able to allow me the support, love, and environment around me so we could raise a family and not pass on those experiences to my kids. That was paramount. I told my wife when we got married, I'll never cheat on you, I'll never hit you. Other than those 2 things, I might be the biggest bum on planet Earth, but I'm going to try to do the best I can. So those experiences are me. They're what I am, and they make me who I am. And I'm not going to walk away from them. I'm not going to deny them. I'm not going to hide them. But what it also set up, I think, is I've talked to lots of other children who grew up in alcoholic homes. You have a sense of yearning for achievement, trying to always achieve some form of recognition from the family, some form of a tip of the hat, if you will. And so it's a kind of an innate driving system behind us all. So
Well, you said something that was very important to hear,
what's that?
and that was that you promised yourself you would not go down the same path.
It was too
that
perfect.
Made a tremendous difference in your life. I can relate to that.
Yes, ma'am.
I grew up in a similar home,
Yep.
very violent.
Yep.
My mom worked 24/7,
Yeah.
lived with someone else,
Yeah.
scrubbing their floors and cleaning up behind
Yes, ma'am.
them, and she lived with them. And we grew up with our stepfather, who was an alcoholic
Yeah.
and an abuser.
Yeah.
And it was a fight, and it was horrible, the fight. So, but I came to the same conclusion. You know, when he said to me, "You'll never become anything in
Yeah.
life,"
Yeah.
I said, "I'm going to prove you wrong."
Yeah.
And that is a motivation in itself, and the way people should look at it. And our young people, if you're going through what we have gone through
Correct.
in life, and you're in that same situation, know that it's based on how you think about that situation.
What I always tell people, Dr. Mills, is this: we're simply this double helical strand of DNA. That's all we are. We're a composite of the places we've been, the people we've met, the things we've done. That's all we are. Genetics guide us, but they don't dictate what we become. It's how we take all this sensory input and how we decide to do something either positive with it or negative with it. It's easy for you or I to sit here and go, well, you know what? I could have just been just like my parents. I could have just done that. And you would have had a certain level of conformity with expectations. Or you can choose to go another way. And that other way is not fraught with success all the time. It comes with stressors.
Oh, yes, it does.
And you have a lot of clutching that comes back from the community from which you've arisen from. And as a result, you're constantly in a tension model, a spring model of what you're trying to become and how you're trying to leave something else behind. And the same as I said earlier, you don't want to disavow where you've come from. You want to internalize that, turn it into your solid steel core. And as I've told people, you know, we've had violence, punches thrown, guns drawn, arguments and fights and this, that, and the other. They serve to make my internal core so strong that there's no place you can get to that you can hurt me.
Exactly.
Therefore, I'm relatively refractory or immune to stresses or insults or pressure situations because I've been someplace where it's been worse.
Yes.
Okay, and as a result, I wouldn't wish my experience on anybody, but by the same token, I wouldn't wish my experience away from me. It is what I am.
Well, I mentioned my stepfather, but my father was an alcoholic too, and left the home and the family at a very young age because of alcoholism.
We as a people, we as humans, have all kinds of opportunities for good and bad, and we tend to go towards pleasure centers and areas of escape versus standing up and dealing with reality as it is and saying, I have to prevail, I have to go forward.
You have to survive.
You do, yes ma'am, yes ma'am.
Well, you know, you just what you shared so much already in the way of encouraging others that,
Sure.
you know, today it's still alcoholism that plagues, but
Drugs,
it's also
alcoholism.
now the other drugs. And I
Yeah.
say the other because alcohol is a drug, it's just a legal drug.
It's a gateway drug.
And it does the same thing,
Yes,
it
ma'am.
destroys.
Yes, ma'am.
And so, but now we have children that are being raised by their grandparents, you know, or a lot of single parents because
homeless.
of the same thing,
Yes,
of
ma'am.
drugs or even homeless. What is your philosophy in life, Dr.
We
Moore?
only have, please call me Tim, we only have a short period of time on this planet. By the time you're 20, you've already expended 170,000 hours. If you make it to 80, you've got 700,000 hours, give or take, that you're on this planet. What are you going to do with the time? Time is the enemy for any individual. When we're
Yes, it
young, we
is.
think we have plenty of it. The older we get, the faster it goes. Number one. Number two, my philosophy is curiosity. Remain curious. Ask why. Find the story. Find out what somebody is about. How did they get there? What did they do? How does this work? Why do we accept this? Is this the right pathway? Because in this age where we have so much filter to us through our phones and by other people's thoughts, the one value that we all have, the one intrinsic skill that we all have is our mind. We have the ability to think. As I tell students every day, the phone is what somebody wants you to know. What's above you and in your mind and looking down range is what's the possible. Don't be defined by what someone else has done. Define your own
Or
journey.
what someone else defines you as.
Exactly.
Define your own journey.
You've
That's
got
right.
it. You've got it. Yes, ma'am.
What or who are you most thankful for? I know that you didn't do this on your own.
no.
So, and you mentioned your wife.
Yes,
so
ma'am.
outside of your wife, someone, it could be a teacher, it could be someone
I
else.
have two
in the community.
individuals, and
Your
one was
parents?
loving, one was a sobering individual. I was in the Army on active duty, and I had an opportunity to go to graduate school. And I was not a great student. I was not a summa cum laude or a magna cum laude. I was a thank you laude graduate getting out of college. And I thought I'd never go back. And I'll tell you a story about that later on. But by sheer luck of the draw, I had a commander that believed in me, a general officer who wanted me to have a graduate education. And so there I was on a phone booth, they still had those back then, and making a phone call to a professor I had one class with. And I asked him for a letter of recommendation to go to graduate school. And this was the comment he gave me. He goes, "Oh, Mr. Moore, I always wonder what happened with you. I never saw a man with more potential do less with it." And I thought, wow, that's a punch in the face. And there was an expectation that I had skills that I didn't see. I was clouded by my early life, and I was clouded by my educational experience, and I was clouded by where I found myself at that point in time. The second individual is a Russian immigrant by the name of Vitaly Boyjanoy. And Vitaly has just passed away. He was a mentor of mine. He passed away at age 82. And Vitaly was a guy that saw in me intellectual curiosity and scientific acumen. And he pushed me to get my doctorate degree in physiology. And I fought it for years. And then he eventually said, "You have to do this. If you're going to make your full impact in education, you have to have a terminal degree." And he saw something in me, and he gave me the guardrails to get through that process at age 46. And so at age 50, I graduated my doctorate degree, and I never forget. I'll give you the words he gave me the day I graduated. I'm sitting there thinking about my grandfather, my father, my children, my wife, this, that, and the other. He leans over and he touches me and he says, "Remember, you're no smarter today than you were yesterday. Keep it real, keep focused. It's a journey. You've achieved something, but it doesn't define you. Definition is yet to come."
Wow. So you are telling us how very important it is to have mentors in your life and to surround yourself with people of greatness that can help bring your greatness out of you.
Yes, ma'am. And those people don't necessarily have to be, as with Dr. Dobbs, the gentleman told me I had underachieved. They're not people that are telling us that we're pretty or smart or handsome or talented. They're people giving us a sober view of who we are. And we have to be mature enough to handle that and not go, "Well, I'm mad at you, Dr. Mills. You said I'm not where I need to be yet." And take it more as someone outside of me is seeing something that I'm deficient in. I need to step up my game. Don't retreat. Press the attack.
Amen to that.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you believe in second chances?
I do. For myself personally, I've had a number of second chances. We always have to redefine ourselves in our careers. Nobody has a straight linear shot of all happy stories in their career journey. Nobody. Life, everything has their ups and downs. And that's, I think, what I would tell young people today is don't get sold into the false narrative of TikTok or YouTube or this, that, and the other, what somebody's life looks like just by optics. It's all baloney. Nobody has a perfect life. Nobody does. But at the end of the day, you've got to be able to press forward and think for yourself and achieve for yourself and do the things you want to do. And if you press, opportunities will occur and they'll merge. So there, drifted off target, but
That's so important. And you're going to have people that will speak negativity in your life, and you can't listen to that or mistreat you. You have to look within yourself to survive these things.
And ma'am, if I may interject this, I don't know about you, I think you're an optimistic person. I'm an optimist. I'm a realist, but I'm an optimist.
Yes.
You can't go through life with a depressive attitude about where you find yourself with the way the world is. Be the change agent. Make a difference.
I agree.
And if you attack the world each day with that thought process, at the end of the day, as I tell my students, you're just trying to get 1% better today than you were yesterday.
And you will make that difference.
You will make that
You will
difference.
make
Yes,
that
ma'am.
difference. Is there a book or quote I know you've mentioned several quotes already that made a
Sure.
humongous difference in your life, but is there a book that changed your life or influenced you to the point of propelling you?
I read so many books. I'm an attention deficit kid. That's one of the things I learned when I was growing up in an alcoholic household. And so I read 5 or 6 or 7 books at a time. I'll read a chapter here, put it down, pick another one up, come back 2 weeks later and start all over in a new chapter in the book and complete it. It drives my wife insane. She's a linear reader. She reads one book all the way to completion is done. I think that for me, mine would be more scientific. Mine would be more in the area of one's life. But honestly, when I look back over the books I've read, I would say probably John Adams' biography is probably one of the most important ones that I've read, and here's why. I look back at the founding of our country. These were just people. What were they thinking in the moment? What they had to realize the risks they were taking, the opportunities they were trying to see for the rest of humanity, and get in their moment. I don't care about the dates and the places, more of the thought process and the exchange. And if you go back and look at John Adams and his wife Abigail, the exchange of letters they had. Here's a woman that was frozen out of the ability to vote for the country that her husband was forming. Yet she was advising him every step of the way. She was his mentor. He was a miserable, tortured soul in one sense of the word, but he found solace in her words. And so I look at that and go, okay, how do I utilize that same experience? Is there something relevant to me? And in that story, there's something that touched me about my wife and how she's guided me through this journey.
Now, the next question I have for you, what type of child were you? Because,
Oh, my
you know,
God.
listening to you,
My God.
I'm
You've
like,
got to be
oh,
kidding
as a
me.
child.
I was the youngest of 3
People might have
sons.
saw him in a different light here.
I was the youngest of 3 sons. My father believed in the alpha male pecking order. We fought all the time. My brothers and I were never close. It was always about mano a mano and always trying to get on top of the, as I call it, dung beetles, trying to get on top of the dung ball. I was into trouble all the time, broken bones all the time. But there was a different era, though, Dr. Mills. You know, we were outside. You know, you didn't want to be in the house because bad things happened in the house. So Solace was out in the yard playing with everybody. So we were out until dark, you know, and it was a different era. And I lament for our current generation, they've lost that experience. Because we've made them afraid of everything and everyone. And there's rightful reasons to be afraid of certain things. But the innocence of childhood, that discovery and figuring out who you are and what you are and the world around you without this other bad stuff going on in your day-to-day life. Can you imagine now if we grew up in an alcoholic household and you had no outside activity, you were trapped inside those 4 walls? How suffocating.
Very suffocating.
Yes,
Yes, I
ma'am.
remember myself as a child being out all the time.
Yes, ma'am.
You know,
I
we
was
had to
too.
come in by dark, but the whole day we were out.
Yes, ma'am. And then you became invisible at night because as soon as the glass hit the table, you knew that there was going to be bad things happening. And again, other alcoholic children of alcoholic parents, we all became invisible. We knew the signs.
And you wanted to be invisible.
Yes, ma'am.
Because you
Yes,
had
ma'am.
to kind of tiptoe and
Yes, ma'am.
hope that nothing. What
Hope
was the
you didn't
next
get called
thing?
out or got hurt or drew
Right.
attention. Those were all bad
Right,
things. Yes,
right.
ma'am.
Okay, what are your success habits?
Well, one is optimism, one is enthusiasm, the other is curiosity. Optimism is I believe there's a better day always coming. Enthusiasm is always about seeing the positive and driving people forward. And then the curiosity, as I've always said, curiosity's done more for me. So let me give you a little snapshot of my career.
Okay.
I have done everything that I've ever set my mind to in terms of projects, $400 million of research. I did the first vaccine program post 9/11 for botulinum antitoxin. Canines for the White House and the Capitol building. TSA, the dogs that smell your luggage, came out of a program at Auburn. Multiple patents. New business. I sell products on Amazon. I've allowed myself to get in lots of areas to learn, to explore, to develop, and achieve some level of success that I can then bring back and apply to the next opportunity that occurs. And that really kind of sums up my approach to all of this. It's a series of experiences. The other thing I would say is surround yourself with great people. Make sure you all have the values aligned, but also have that coterie of people in your constellation around you that are not afraid to tell you the truth. Sometimes you're just not as good as you think you are.
You're right.
And
Right,
that you need
right.
to be able to handle it.
open to, like you said earlier, to be able to be open to receive and
Yes, ma'am.
not get offended and
Yes, ma'am.
try to protect yourself, but be open to get truth so that you can grow.
And I was also say this to you is, I'm sure you'll resonate with this, as a child of alcoholic parents, your determination makes you very impervious to deflection. You set your mind to it, you're going to go do it. Sometimes many of those people can kind of hit us upside the head and say, you're going the wrong direction, you need to look over here.
What is one of your best childhood memories? And I know sometimes that's kind of hard when you've had a rough childhood to really be able to say, okay.
I really was probably more of a teenager, but I can remember being in Marjorie Fowler's geometry class at South Mecklenburg High School in Charlotte, North Carolina, and I saw my future wife walk through the door.
Okay.
And that moment, I was in love. I was a football player. I was in love. I was just, she couldn't stand me. And that was okay. I was persistent. I was not going to take no.
Now, you know this, you're in education. I'm in education. And we know how important it is for one to be educated in life, right? In all different paths and different ways. Do you remember a teacher in school that influenced you in such a way that it helped you, even if you didn't realize it at the time? You reflect back.
You know, that's a great question. I always challenge people to look back through their education careers, and I always say you probably have about 4 or 5 people that were really impactful in your life for one reason or another. Mr. Johnston, who was my 6th grade teacher in elementary school, just because he was a male teacher and usually in a female-dominated elementary process, and I resonated with him. I was in trouble a lot, but I resonated with him.
We'll stop right there for a minute. We need more male educators.
We do. Let me tell you where we are also. Just to get on my soapbox, we have 7.5 million men that are not in work, they're not in college, not in the work, they're not doing anything. That's unacceptable. That's a failure indicator in our society. And I'll tell you where we are now. We have allowed people to be as they are and have placed no expectations on them. I tell students there's only 2 rules I live by: disappointment and regret. Disappointment is on you. That's the coulda, woulda, shoulda done better. That's your internal monologue. Regret is, I'm trying to help you. Don't make me regret investing time on you if you're not willing to put forth the effort. And I don't believe in the baby bird syndrome. You can't sit in the nest and I flatter myself to death trying to feed you. You've got to at some point stand up and start to fly. Meet me halfway. If you meet me halfway, I will absolutely crush the world for you to get you in that position where you can achieve success. And it's not my ego involved in it. It's the getting people to realize they have it. And everybody has it, one degree or another. Whether I've got a young son who's 26, got his doctorate degree at 24, dyslexic, couldn't read, was told he was functionally incapable of being in primary mainstream education, yet here he is. But what God takes away in one area, gives back in another. He has an eidetic memory. And his ability to synthesize on the fly and see things around corners that I can't see is extraordinary. We all have it.
We say here at St. Lucie County Public Schools that all children are capable of success, no exceptions. And there is no exceptions. There's treasure in every child.
I agree.
And all we need to do is find
Everybody
that treasure.
has a story they can tell. And education is the gateway to that story. Because we all go through these experiences. I did when I was in high school. I was a very poor student, got to college, very poor habits, barely got out. And you carry this dark cloud over you that I'm not smart. Dr. Mills is just smart. She made A's, I made D's. It is not the case. You're
Do you
smart.
remember making D's?
Oh my God, yes.
Okay.
I thought I was going to be a physician. That's where I was going to go until I had my first organic chemistry test, and I realized I don't have it. But the point of the journey is not the grade. Education really results in your ability to learn how you take disparate facts and put them into your brain housing unit, and you combine them with experience to create knowledge to solve problems. That's what the point of education is about. The A's, the B's, the C's, the D's, they don't define you. They're just a measurement tool.
How do you solve problems?
How do you solve problems?
Yes.
You're in your role because of your unique synthesis of experience, journey, education, and exposure. I'm in the same position. There are no textbooks for what we do, none. It's that synthesis we talked about. And everybody has that ability. But they allow the first obstacle to deflect them and they give up.
That's right.
Durability of the fight is
That's
how
right.
you define
That's right.
yourself.
I have a GED.
There's nothing wrong
I
with
was
that.
out on my own at age 16.
There's nothing wrong with that.
To defend and survive.
Yes, ma'am.
And but when I was ready, and when I realized what I had, in fact, this was up north in New Jersey,
Yeah.
and Montclair State College came to me and said, "We want to give you a full scholarship."
Isn't that cool?
After getting my GED, but because of my situation, I said, "No, I gotta work and I have to live." And they were not willing to provide me with room and board.
Yep, yep.
You know.
So let's touch on that for just a second, because our Promise program
Now
is...
we don't have. That's what I wanted to ask you
Okay, go,
about.
fire
We've
away.
got 3 minutes.
Go ahead, fire away.
And I want you to talk about this Promise program because we have people out there
All right.
that need to
So let's
hear
talk about what it is, first of all. Any area high school graduate, public high school, public charter school, and select home schools, as long as you make a 2.0 GPA and graduate high school, regardless of your family's income status, I don't care. As long as you enroll full-time at the college, we'll waive your tuition. It's not free college, it's tuition-free college, okay? So you have a few $100s to get through school versus a few thousand. 1. 2, this journey is about being full-time in school. You must be full-throated committed to your educational process, because let my faculty do their magic in the classroom. If you don't quit, they won't quit. And I don't care if you believe you're college material, not college material, you want to play at it, whatever, try. There's no penalty. You don't owe me any money or the college any money at the end of this journey. The whole point is to give you that launch point in life so your intellectual awakening can occur. You've got to try, because if you don't seize the moment as an 18-year-old, guess what? Life gets in the way. And then we're back at age 46, 47, 48, trying to
do it
finish
then.
something we should have done at 17, 18,
Exactly.
right? Maturity comes at different
Understanding
stages.
it, yeah.
Yes, ma'am. So the idea is, so what we did last year, we rolled this out on 8 weeks. 2,190 students from the district, all 4 counties of our service district, took advantage. We captured 43% of all high school students last year in the college. Right now we have 3,600 kids signed up for the fall of 23. We have 2.5 more weeks to go. Sign up, take advantage, change your life, own this process. As I had one of my keynote speakers at graduation, life's gonna punch you in the mouth. Ain't nobody coming. You've gotta do it yourself.
So young people, you hear that? You're graduating this year. You can go to the college and ask them about this Promise program. It makes no difference how much your parents make or don't make. And then parents, you've heard this, for your young people, get them to the college now to get them registered for this program. It's free college tuition.
Correct.
And you want to take advantage of it now. So we about running out of time. We've got a minute left. If
Yes,
there's
ma'am.
anything you'd like to say during that time.
Well, first of all, thank you for the opportunity, and thank you for sharing your experiences. I have as well. We are kindred souls at one level or another. We're all part of the human condition, and I talk about our three points of true north at the college: mission, students, and community. Our mission is the highest quality education with all the attributes at the lowest price. I believe in giving everybody a shot at redemption, a shot at opportunity to change their lives through education. If we change that student, since 92% of our students stay in the state, and 77% stay in the district, we change the student, we'll change our communities. Don't like the direction of America today? It requires informed citizenry to make America operate. We need informed citizenry to hold jobs. We need informed citizenry to pay their taxes. We need informed citizenry to make changes in our world for the better. Education is the gateway. It's not the definition, it's the gateway to the next part of your journey. So I'm honored to be here with you today. I'm excited to be here. I look forward to having you on our college, back to your alma mater, to come see what we're doing, because there's really exciting things happening.
I would love to do that, and I'm so glad that we've met.
Yes, ma'am.
And that you're right, we are kindred spirits.
Yes, ma'am.
More than I think we realize,
Yes, ma'am.
even. But we are here to make that difference, and we are so grateful
Well,
that
thank you.
you're here
Thank you.
now in St. Lucie County
kind
to
of you.
help us make the difference.
My honor. Thank you, ma'am.
Dr. Moore.
Thank you, ma'am.
Hope to have you back.
I'll be back anytime you need me.
Okay,
Yes, ma'am.
great.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.